and I love people so much. This is just what I do at a coffee shop. So
Right.
what you get is what you get. So it's
Exactly.
going
I'll take
live
it.
right now.
We are live
Facebook,
streaming.
take it away, Dean Edwards. You do your intro like you're doing it in a third person in somebody else's voice.
Yeah, nah, I'll leave it. I'll leave it to you.
Absolutely. Let me go on over here because this is what I got off of Wikipedia. So I'm going to read
Oh,
it because I love Dean Edwards, man. I'm a fan. I got to tell you. Dean Edwards, I'll skip past your birthday because you're so young. They're not going to believe it.
oh,
Dean, that didn't sound right. Dean Edwards is an American stand up comedian. Yes,
I
he is,
am. I am.
folks.
Yes, he is.
He is. And he's also an actor. Oh my
Mm,
gosh, yes, he is. A singer. Let's hear some music.
yeah.
A writer. We got to hear about this musician and voice artist. He's
Hmm.
worked as a voice actor, includes doing voice of Scottie Pippen, Spike Lee. He's been in Celebrity Deathmatch, Robotomy, Donkey and he was the Donkey in Sacred Shrekless. After we won't even go into why. This man has been on SNL, Tony and Tina's Wedding. He did the week. My favorite part, I stay up for Weekend Update and then I go to sleep.
Right, right.
I love
Yeah,
Weekend Update.
weekend update lets everybody know it's Sunday. That's when you know. That's when you know it's super late, and you saw the musical guests do their first big hit, and because the second song is usually the other single they're trying to get people into, and so after the musical guest first song, Weekend Update comes, and people usually like, all right, it's time to lay
Yeah.
down.
I when I met Michael Che one day at down in Greenwich Village at the olive
Hmm.
tree.
Hmm.
Um
I was there
my
last night.
Were you really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's so cool. I wish I'd have run into you. And so when I was there, a friend met him too and said, I love you on SNL. That show puts me to sleep. Like it was a good thing. It's just like, why would you say that?
Saturday Night Live, tucking people in for 45 years.
Oh my gosh. I was just talking to Amy Ashton, who knows you. She loves
Mm-hmm.
you. Yeah.
So I said, well, what up, Amy, if she
Yeah.
sees this?
Yeah, she probably will. So anyway, I want to know from your point of view,
Mm-hmm.
let's go into the pandemic and people off the rails. Everybody's acting like they're women on their first monthly cycle. What is happening in America to
Yeah,
people?
right, right.
Without
I
being
mean,
political, there's observation.
no, no. I mean, we have to just deal with it, and I think, any people of all ethnicities that have endured, hardship. This is really just, another year, and so most of my friends are like, all right, well, we'll deal with it. I was in the military, and so there was a phrase that the sergeants used to always use, which is "suck it up and drive on." You just got to keep it moving, and yeah, we're dealing with this pandemic and systemic racism that's been here, is not new that we've been dealing with, and social unjust and social unrest, and we deal with it, but life goes on, and you adapt, and you just find a way to cope and put as much positive energy out there as you can. So that's what I've been doing, which I was doing in February before it started, and I'll be doing after after this all subsides.
Absolutely. Well said, Dean. You passed round one, and I'm very inquisitive. So, the second thing we have to stop right now.
Hmm.
So, I'm a military veteran
Okay.
and I
Well,
want to hear about you. What?
Oh no, you know what? I didn't know if you were saying you were a military veteran as well. Yeah, no, I was in the army for 6 years. You know, during in my youth, in my college years, I wanted to go to school and be able to afford it, and the GI Bill helped. It helped me get both my communications degree and then also go to film school for a year, just soak up as much film knowledge as I could. And it also helped, being in the military helped me with discipline and something as simple as making my bed on a daily basis, which I just did before I ran down here to hop on this Zoom.
Yes. Do you know? Thank you for coming on, by the way. So you
Oh,
got to know
you were
that
persistent,
our
very
man
persistent.
Sinbad, awesome. I'm an army veteran.
Oh,
Did you catch that?
and what? That's why when you
Me.
said
I'm
when you
an
said military, okay. How did you
yeah,
do? How
army.
many years did you do?
I did 3 years. Best
Okay.
things come in threes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I was
where'd
in
you do basic?
1970,
Where'd you
Hanau,
do boot camp?
Germany. I was a finance clerk.
Oh wow, wow. Okay, okay. Oh, you got to
What'd
go
you do?
overseas.
What'd you
I
do?
was I was 76 Juliet med
What'd you
supply
do?
specialist. Med supply specialist. 76 Juliet. I
Nice.
I gave
Where
out
did you
syringes
go?
and condoms. Just Fort Jackson and Fort Sam Houston. You just heard that. Fort Sam Houston in Texas, Fort Drum in Watertown, New York. I was it was I didn't get overseas. Actually, right after I joined, Desert Storm started. Right after I got out of basic, Desert Storm started. And fortunately, I didn't have to go. They activated half of our unit, and I was the half that lucked out and didn't have to go. Fortunately.
Yay. Yes, yes. Wow. I say that in 1970, I was actually a wanted woman. It's kind of unique to go in the military when you're wanted, but it was a poster at the post office. It was Uncle Sam.
Well,
I was wanted by
he wasn't
the
like this. He was
boomer.
like, "Come here, come here."
So anyway, yeah. So what was it like being in the military?
You know what? It was cool. I mean, you're young and wide eyed, and it's probably some of the best shape I've been in my life because you're running 2 miles a day at uh 600 hours, and then out there in those I don't know. I'm curious if the shorts have changed because back then they were little more than tidy whities. They were really short shorts, and you were out there, on the field with you know your entire 60-person platoon out there, at the crack of dawn doing push-ups, frontline and rest position and sit-ups and just out in the dirt, getting dirty, getting muddy, but you didn't know any better. That's what's funny about, when you're younger, just like with kids, kids, we're all so clean and sanitized, but if a little kid's playing out in the park, they aren't worried about getting their hands dirty. That's part of the fun, is seeing how much of a film you can come home with, so
Yes.
that's what it was when I was in the army way back then.
So you grew up in what city? What made you go in the military? What made you go into comedy, please?
I grew up, born in the Bronx, raised Mount Vernon, moved all over New York State because my pops, God bless, he worked for the New York State Department of Corrections, so we moved a bunch of times, went to a bunch of different schools, which actually, it's funny because people are like, was your dad in the military? I'm like, see, felt like it because we moved so often, and honestly joined the military because in for whatever odd reason, when you have two parents, it's almost like you're penalized when you enter higher education because the powers that be somehow figured, well, you know what, you have two parents, so they've been saving this money. You make enough money, and this money's gonna go towards your education. I'm like, this is not in a surplus. And I was out, honestly, I wasn't the best student, so I just took it upon myself to say, you know what, I'll you know, lessen the burden for them and you know, join the military. I had a couple of friends that had been in the reserves, and they seemed like they were doing well, and they spoke highly of it. So I said, why not? Something to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you meet people in the military you're still friends with?
Yeah. One of my closest friends, my boy General. Shout out to General. He and I we used to clown, we used to clown around in formation, you know, to see if who can make the other laugh and get in trouble. So yeah, we had some good times. A bunch of guys, actually, a bunch of guys I was in there with.
I used to go out to formation in the middle of the night when they'd wake us up in basic.
Uh-huh.
And they wake us up in Georgia in the middle of the rain season and middle of the night, 2 a.m. And everybody's putting on all their clothes to perfection. I put on my shoes and my raincoat, and then I would flash the girls because, like, you know, it's just a big tease because I'm straight and they're not.
Right. That's funny. Did you get in trouble?
No, never. Not for that.
She left out. That's funny. I love the not for that. She got in trouble, but that's not what it was.
You know, I got so tired of men in the military in the 70s. They'd ask if you were in the military because you were a lesbian or a nymphomaniac. You had to be one or the other.
Oh, wow. Well, there's no gray area.
And like, it's so degrading to lesbians because can't they be nymphomaniacs too?
Right. A lymphomaniac.
Stage 4 lesbian.
Right.
Anyway, so you grew up and you went in the military, and who, when you were little, said, you know what, you got the chops for comedy, acting, singing?
Me. I saw Eddie Murphy when I was a kid. I saw Eddie. Eddie did Delirious in September '83 and ran in my parents' room and told them that's what I want to do. That was it, and ever since then I just you know, fortunately my family encouraged me, you know, and I say fortunately because I know every creative, every artist doesn't have that same support, and fortunately my family you know, always supported my choice and my journey, and encouraged me to, you know, pursue it. My dad's actually the one that pretty much told me I got to move back to New York, because at that point we were living up in Rochester, and I'd been a comic for like a part-time comic for about 2 years, and he you know, he said, what are you doing with this? And I was, you know, I'm young and kind of feeling myself. I'm like, man, I'm a comedian. He's like, you're not a comedian, you're like a reservist. He's like, you do comedy like once every 3 weeks sporadically. He was like, if you want to do it, you got to really pursue it. You gotta be in the, if you want to be in the game, you gotta go where the game's played. You gotta go back to New York. And so, you know, he stung my little ego, and that made me say, all right, well, in a year's time, go back to New York. And that was '94, and then June 25th, 1995, moved back to almost like literally 2 minutes away from where I was born, in the Bronx. I was living on Brooklyn Boulevard, and fast forward, I think 6 months later, I did my first TV show, Def Comedy Jam. So he was right.
Wow. What was that like? I'm a huge fan of Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah, Def Jam was dope.
What was that like?
Dope. It was awesome. I mean, you know, it's because of the you know, rich history that came from that show. You know, and all of the people, especially that first season, you know, you had everyone from Bernie Mac to Chris Tucker, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Said, Eddie Griffin, Adele Givens, you know, Angela Means. You had so many, Cheryl Underwood, so many future stars, Joe Torre, people that were really sort of about to revolutionize what comedy had, what the general populace understood comedy was, and there was a revolution. And so even though I got on it, after its heyday, I was part of that fraternity. I was excited, and the people that tape with me, have gone on. We've all, I think, gone on to great success. Whether myself with SNL and Aries Spears, Afion Crockett, and I taped the same weekend. Rudy Rush, Corey Holcomb, Todd Lynn, rest in peace. We just had a lot of great comics that came through, and so once you did Def Jam, you realized, okay, well, something just changed, and now I can get a little more money when I go on the road, because TV credits,
Yeah.
especially at that time, meant someone had validated you, and it's still pretty much the same.
Yes. The TV credits are the equivalent today of Johnny Carson saying, "Come on over and sit down."
Yeah, well, what's currently Johnny Carson, like Joe Rogan. Doing Joe Rogan is like, to me, is the equivalent of doing Carson back in the day, where Carson called you did your set on the Tonight Show. Carson called you over and sat down, and the next day you were booked up. I think the Joe Rogan experience is similar to that, where once you do Rogan, everybody and their mother, because he's so big, I think he's the continuation. I think Mark Maron's WTF podcast was the first like boom, but then the next level of what Maron did with his podcast is Joe Rogan's show.
Very cool. Do you know who Carlo Bellario is? Out
No,
of Jersey?
I don't. But it also, and there's no disrespect to Carlo, because I'm oftentimes on the road. I don't know a lot of the newer. If you started after, say, 2010, and I'm not in the clubs the way I was, like I don't hit the stages in the city. Obviously,
Gotcha.
none of us are right now, but newer names, unfortunately, I don't know him, but I'm sure he's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to knock Rogan off that number one spot.
Oh, okay.
So
Is he getting close? Is he? Are his numbers up there?
Well, since you're military, I wanted to tell you he is on the Armed Forces Network with his podcast.
Okay.
And he gets some of the biggest stars.
Oh, I believe it.
He should interview you. And yeah, he's a cool dude, Carlo Bellario. I'll tag him because he should meet you. Good to interview. So you go into comedy. How did you get trained for acting? Like, did you go through Groundlings or?
No. I just I didn't. There are two schools of comedy that wind up on SNL. Either your sketch or your stand up. Sketch comics come in and they kind of have a built-in network because everyone knows each other. So Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry knew each other, from Groundlings, when they got SNL. Amy Poehler and anyone that's been UCB knew each other. Tina Fey and Rachel Dratch knew each other from Second City and also had a show together. When Jeff Richards and I both auditioned on July 12th, 2001, I didn't know Jeff, he didn't know me. So when we were wandering the halls waiting to go on, there were cliques and groups of performers that were, I remember walking by one dressing room because we were all, I was in Anna Gasteyer's dressing room and I'm not sure where Jeff was. And then walking by, say, Horatio Sands' dressing room, and there were like three people in there that were kicking it because they knew each other from the improv world, from the sketch world. And so you felt like sort of a renegade. And I always say if you're a stand-up and you go into that space, you're a special breed. I mean, we all are. Anyone that's on SNL is a special breed, but stand-ups really have no connection to anyone else there, because you don't have a built-in network, and that includes writers as well. When you're on SNL, there are other writers that maybe they weren't camera ready, but they're great writers, and so the show hired them. And now if I come from Second City and you were in Second City and you're a writer and I'm a cast member, you know how to write. You have a relationship already that was established, or at least are familiar with each other, so it's so now I came from stand-up and obviously acting in some shows when I was in school and college or what have you, doing fences or what have you, and I was working this circuit as a working actor and commercial actor around the city of New York. But I'm a stand-up first.
Love that. Talk to me about the best and the worst. You're a positive guy. You'll probably not go into the worst, but you can. The best and the worst that hit you upside the head in the comedy world that you did not know was going to happen wherever you went one night. The craziest good and the craziest not so good that you've witnessed.
Well, I guess the craziest would be anytime the material didn't work. Anytime you went on stage and your set wasn't clicking. I remember right after the Rodney King riots, one lesson that stuck with me was I was playing this club and it was majority. I think there might have been like 3 Black people in the club, including myself, and another Black comic. So there was 1 Black audience member, and I come from the tradition as many, like I said, many Black people, and then other ethnicities, Jewish people, Latinos. We flip tragedy and find the humor in it. And so I went on stage joking about the riots, which saying that sounds funny, but I remember that crowd they just stared at me. And I was green, I was newer, so the material probably wasn't as funny, but I just remember saying, oh, you know what? No, it's that's where you got to read your audience, and I found that audiences of color laugh. We're not as guarded about laughing about what some people might deem inappropriate. That was a big lesson. And then like going on the road and not getting all your money. I used to work for this promoter, me and Russell Peters. We always joke about this to this day. I used to promote shows up in Toronto, and we go up there and say, he booked you for $500, and you were like, all right, cool, I'm a comedian, I'm working, I'm getting $500. And then after chasing him around after the show, because the show might end, say 10, 11 o'clock, and now you're chasing him around for another hour and a half, so it's almost 1 a.m. I'm ready to bounce, and I'm like, hey man, I'm trying to get my money, I'm tired, I gotta go. He's like, all right. And then he hands you $320. You're like, yo, what's up with my money? He's like, no, see, what do you mean? He's like, no, I said 500 Canadian. And then he converts it to 300 American US dollars. So, things like that. I mean, you laugh about them now, but in the moment I was tight.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. So what's some of the favorite stepping stones in your career that you mentioned? Def Jam got you to another level.
Yeah, Def Jam. I mean, every TV credit, pretty much, especially the early ones, those mean a lot because you take it. I remember Charlie Murphy said, "Man, I remember seeing my brother. The fact that he saw a TV and said, I'm gonna be on there one day, and that's why I looked at it. When I did Def Jam, and I'm like watching myself on TV, I'm like, yo, this is amazing. I did it. And then when I did Showtime at the Apollo, which I just posted my first Showtime at the Apollo set on my social medias on Instagram and everything and Facebook. And watching that set, and this is what, 20, I did that I think in 97, and here we are 23 years later, and the set still made me laugh. Oftentimes people will watch some of their old work and be like, ugh, cringe. But I was actually proud of it, more so not just because of the set, but because I had to follow, the Apollo, the Apollo. When the Apollo digs an act, you can feel it. And so LL Cool J at the time had a song with Method Man, Redman, and DMX, and this is when DMX first came out. It was they were features on the song, and they went on and destroyed. Said if any of y'all go to YouTube, you can watch the clip of Method Man, Redman, DMX, LL Cool J doing 4, 3, 2, 1, and they if anything was loose, the ceiling would have caved in, and then I had to follow that. And most of the people backstage were nervous, but I'm such a hip hop head. I was like, nah, this is even better. I'm gonna just ride that wave, and I did. And that's still one of my favorite sets ever.
What a great inspiration that story is.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of comedians are afraid of what?
No, I said I'm glad if someone's inspired by it, I'm glad I could motivate them.
Hey, would you tell me why you're such a great person? What happened in your life that makes you this wonderful?
God blessed me to be that way. Good parents, good stock and home training, and a strong faith.
There's so many people that aren't present and aren't positive in the world.
Right. Well, we're all working through something. We're all working through something. I always tell people, hey man, you can take the high road or the low road. We all on the same. It's all the same road. So why not? Life's already going to throw you challenges. May as well roll with them and laugh at them.
Yes. What inspires you to write a joke? Everything, or do you have a certain way of
everything? I just if something if I see something funny, like I said, I was at the Cellar, they at the Olive Tree last night, and they how they have it set up is interesting, but is dope because there's a glass partition around the performers, and haven't been on stage there in 8 months, since March, and as a matter of fact, I think the last time I performed in the Comedy Cellar's clubs did the Vegas Room, and then did taped this week at the Comedy Cellar, and so getting on stage there just felt, I was like, wow, it's weird to be back. And it just was working out things I jotted down over the last couple of weeks. So I was like, whenever I get on stage, I'm going to talk about Jake from State Farm. Something struck me as funny about Jake from State Farm, because no one realizes Jake from State Farm used to be white and now he's black. now he's black and he's kind of muscular, and the white women in those commercials love him.
He's like the reverse Al Roker, Ronald McDonald. Or
exactly
the guy that was the guy that was the first Ronald McDonald that does the news.
Oh no, I didn't know.
Yeah, it started with a person of color and became a white guy.
Oh, surprise. Surprise. So this is just this is reparations for Ronald,
Enjoy your fries and racism.
Finally, we get some payback.
Yes. I can't imagine what it's on a serious note. I was telling Sinbad, that I cannot imagine a minute of my life or a day what it would be like to be a person of color in America. I cannot imagine. Cannot.
Right. Well, more people. They're challenges, but it's also dope. I wouldn't trade who I am and be what I am, but how I look for the world. There's this melanin pop, and I'm feeling wonderful, But yeah, it's a challenge. But again, we roll with it. And you know, as a performer, as an artist, you reflect your reality. And so over the last couple of years, I'm more comfortable, talking about or discussing, having a open conversation about my experiences as a Black male, in America, and talking about both the pluses and the minuses, and because the hope is not only that people see how absurd racism is, but also that there's nothing to be afraid of. If you have fear from me, you should fear a white guy that's 6'4", that has a lot of hair too. And if not, then you need to reflect and look in the mirror. And I'm very comfortable on stage letting people know, racism isn't my problem. That's your problem. If you're racist, if you let racism affect you, then that's on you, or control you, I should say.
You don't have any bitterness or hate inside of you.
No, well, wasted energy too. Yeah, that's wasted energy.
I love that.
And all it does is bring you down, and that's a heavy burden to walk around with. So I prefer carrying some positive energy and giving people some good love, good funny, good love, good energy.
Absolutely. What's something that you have not done that you have to do before you meet your maker?
Oh, jeez.
Return to sender.
Bunch of things. Yeah, right. No, it was starring like one of the top 10 box office grossing films of all time. Have some couple of comedy specials that hit the world and are like this comedy revolution, the same way Eddie Murphy's Delirious was a revolution for me and the whole generation. Just more like legacy goals to inspire not just my children and my family, but also other upcoming comedians and actors and artists. I have a lot of goals I want to accomplish that I will accomplish. I believe you have to will things into existence, not just want them. And so I'm willing things into existence as we speak.
Speaking of legacy, you have one. Do you know your reputation precedes you?
No, but I'll take it. I hope it's positive.
It is. When I posted that I'd be interviewing you, there were tons of people that came forward to say how wonderful you are, that you're a great guy, a wonderful guy, a fabulous comic, all of the above.
Oh, thanks, y'all. I appreciate such love from everybody out there that sees this and said positive things about me. They're all lies. No.
The devil comes out. Did the devil make you do that? Did you just flip on me?
No, comedy did.
Remember Flip Wilson and the devil
of
made
course,
me do?
Of course.
That was
Flip
cool
Wilson doesn't
stuff
get the respect he deserves. He was I think he was the first Black man to have his own sketch show, and I think he was also to produce his own show. He's one of those first that a lot of people don't give credit to, or forget to give credit to, I should say.
Absolutely. He made me laugh so much.
Yeah. Here come the judge. He's funny, man. Flip was funny.
He was.
It's just, you probably watch some of his stuff on YouTube now. If anybody out there, go check out Flip Wilson's the Flip Wilson Show. It was dope. And then he had another dope show in the 80s. After Cosby's sitcom got hot, then it was funny, after the Cosby Show pops, then every other network was like, we need a middle-aged Black comic too. And so I think Flip Wilson had Charlie and Co., which also co-starred Gladys Knight and Jaleel White. And then they gave Red Fox the Royal Family, and I think his show had Della Reese on it.
Wow, Della Reese. Did you ever get the album of Red Foxes that was on red vinyl, red color?
I didn't have it, but you know, over time, you've heard all of Red Was Dirty with his
Yeah,
triple X rated comedy. Yeah, Red. Red was something else, but funny, well, hella funny.
funny. Hella
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, I had the red vinyl record of
Oh
his
wow,
because
wow.
I'm that old.
No, you're not old. You're wiser. You're
I'm so
wise.
wise. So
You're
wise.
wise.
So what's opening up for you these days? And do you have anything where people can buy tickets and support your comedy, Dean, since you've been so gracious to come on this little show?
Yeah, no, there are no little shows, only little people. No, you know what? I'm not selling anything. Y'all could every Monday night we do. I have a Instagram live podcast I do called the For the Mucking Protocol. Um, and it's something I started doing back in April. I think we're coming up on our 32nd episode, our 32nd week doing it, and we've just I interview some of my favorite people, some of my favorite comedians that I'm also friends with. Everyone from from Jim Gaffigan to Jay Farrow, Godfrey, Yamanika Saunders, Marina Franklin, Tiffany Haddish, Finesse Mitchell, Daryl Hammond. We just had geez, who do we have on this past? Alex Thomas. I had wonderful casting director slash producer director Twinkie Bird. And they all just have these great stories. They have great stories about their journey maneuvering the trenches of Hollywood and peaks and valleys. You know, Alex Thomas talks about how Will Smith saw him um, go on at the Laugh Factory and hired him on the spot to write on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he was in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's writing room the next day. Ali Sadiq, who has a great story because he had a turn of events where he actually was in prison and decided to pursue comedy in prison because he used to keep the guys in solitary entertained. And all of the stories, all of the episodes are up on my page at I am Dean Edwards on Instagram. This coming Monday, I don't know how soon is this coming out today. Will this come out today or no? Well, either way, this Monday, Monday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, we have my man Dion Cole, who has a great comedy special on Netflix, Cold Blooded, and then he also has a new comedy special on YouTube on Netflix YouTube page called Working It Out, where he was working on his next special, but then COVID hit. So all of the material that he culled and recorded in 2019, he just edited it into what he says is a workout and people weren't supposed to see, but it's actually a great set. It's a great set. DC Benny was on this past Monday. He has a new special, Adrift in was it Adrift? It has a weird title, but go to DC Benny's page on YouTube and
DC's my buddy.
oh, okay, yeah. So so you probably seen it, but for your audience, oh, you gotta check it out. It's so funny, and honestly, I think that's what's great about this time is that so many great comics, are giving y'all free content. You know, y'all are getting because I wouldn't have been doing a Monday night interview with such great comics. Oh, and then after 2 weeks from now, we have Angela Johnson, another good friend from Mad TV, and she's a great stand-up comic. She'll be on the For the Mugger Protocol. So y'all come and check out every Monday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, the For the Mugger Protocol. Where you can get all the answers that you wanted. Anything you ever wanted to ask a comedian, but didn't have the inside track on how to, get to them. I do my best to ask all those questions, and we do that every Monday night.
Oh, that's so cool. So if I go to Instagram, do you mind if I share the videos with my people?
No, no, not at all. Share. More, the more people that share them,
Okay.
please have at it. Because also what I do is after the following week, after as the Monday morning before I record a new episode that night, I always take just a 3 to 4 minute snippet of something that was impactful from the previous week, and show it just to give, because I know sometimes people don't want to watch a full hour of a conversation, but I always find something I call them gems. And so each person I have that comes on drops a gem that we like to share, because I know when I first started out, I met Bernie Mac, and Bernie Mac encouraged me. He encouraged me, gave me words of advice and wisdom, and I appreciated it. So I said, this is my way of giving back, and just because a lot of people do have questions and sometimes don't know how to ask them, and the reason I call the Fuller Market Protocol is because there is a protocol and there are rules to how you do things. And I think a lot of many newer performers coming up don't understand exactly that there is a protocol and there's a way to ask and there's a way to talk to a veteran that's been out there, and there's a way to approach them, and oftentimes they don't know how to or don't do it the proper way, so that's why I started doing this, and here we are. Like I said, we're 30, this will be 33 weeks later this coming Monday, and people seem to be responding positively, so I'm gonna keep doing them. Even after this is over, I'll keep doing them.
Well, you just found yourself a new fan of
I
your
appreciate that.
podcast show
So
podcast, both.
that'll work.
And
Both, either or.
and
Yeah.
I will be binge watching only that until
Oh,
I'm
okay,
until I'm
okay.
up to here with it. Yeah, I will
Okay, all
watch.
right, well, good. That's good. I hope everybody that's watching gets something positive out of them, because that's the whole goal.
If you're good to me, I never forget you. So I'm not a stalker, but I will
No,
forever be
no,
your fan now.
I'll take that.
So
Fan is fanatical. We just family.
family
Fam is
now.
better.
Tell
Yeah.
me about the books on the shelf behind you, Dean. There's many
Oh,
different
please, well,
books.
yeah, no, my wife's a professor of literature, so
Wow.
those are hers. This was just the most quiet spot in the house that I
What
could come
ages are
to.
your what ages are your children?
Oh, old enough to know better. I don't really share a lot of
That's
yeah,
good.
but no,
No,
yeah.
that's good. No problem. I have a 44-year-old daughter, so that's all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You don't look it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you get as much time right now for me to not ask you a question and for you to do an improvise, or you can do impersonations or whatever voices or what voices in your head that come out your mouth, anything you want to do, or you can
Oh,
just
I'm
inspire,
good.
say anything you
Hey,
want.
Listen. Like I said to y'all earlier, watch the Father Mugger Protocol every Monday night. We got something for y'all. Y'all make sure you enjoy it, and we'll. If you keep enjoying it, we'll keep doing it.
We're gonna get people to come to your, how do you spell it?
Oh, well, you know what? If you just come to my page at I am Dean Edwards, at
Got
I
it.
am Dean Edwards, but you know what? My previous, I actually did have a full-on podcast, and we probably did about 160 episodes. If you put it, the Father Muckin is FUTHA Muckin, MUCKIN, Father Muckin Protocol. You can find all, like, a lot of I started in 2014 and went until last year, until 2019. So there are a lot of great episodes with everyone from Big J Okerson, Greer Barnes, Keith Robinson, Judah Friedlander, Ian Edwards. I mean, we had some of everyone, Felipe Esparza, just so many great guests, just comics. I'm a fan of comedy, even though I am a comedian, I'm also still a fan. And so I love hearing what makes each of us tick, and finding other people's people's stories, hearing how people have maneuvered this,
Yes. I'm just dying to binge watch it, and I'll be promoting it.
That's what's up. Thank you. Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Thank you for your time, and God bless you. And thank you for serving in
Blessings
the
to you, too.
military.
Huh? Likewise. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. And thank you for your dedication, all the sacrifice in time and effort and money to get to the point where you are now. And I'm sure that there have been things you've missed in your own family while you've been out making people laugh. So
Yeah,
it's a sacrifice to be in your
it
business.
It is, but wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yes, I love you to
Appreciate it.
pieces. Thank you so
Much
much.
love. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, take care. Love. All right, bye bye.